Okay, in this video, we're going to introduce you to how to do a bibliography in LaTeX using a .bib or .bib file. We will also show you how to use an online resource to help you create those citations, as well as remind you how to import images. Okay. So let's say that I want to import an image. All right, easiest thing is going to be is to create a folder to hold your images. All right, so I'll come over here, create new folder, and I'm going to just call my folder images. So I'm going to create that folder. Now I have images. I'm going to click on the folder and click the upload button. And I might say, let me select from my computer. And I happen to have 3 images that I may want to upload. So I can go ahead and they need to be either JPEGs or PNG files. Those are my 2 file options. So I'll go ahead and select to import those. So now those images have been imported and they need to be named in such a way that you will be able to recall those file names. Okay, so we want to discuss how we can create citations using an online tool known as ZBib or ZoteroBib. Okay, and let's say that I happen to have encountered this idea of Capraker's constant in a quantum magazine article that was titled How a Simple Arithmetic Puzzle Can Guide Discovery. All right, and I'm going to need to cite this because it's something that others may not be familiar with and they may want to go explore as well. So, how are we going to do that? Well, ZBib, right, or ZoteroBib, I happen to have it open twice up here, right, is a way of creating either as a manual entry what information that you need, right? Or if I happen to be pulling from a website, be able to say, hey, you know what? Here's what I want to get. From Quantum Magazine, the information that I want, and come over to ZBib, paste, and make my citation. And so it's going to come through and it's going to create a citation for me. Now, I always strongly recommend that you come in and that you edit the information and you verify things that are not listed that maybe should be listed. So we have a URL, we have a date of when it was published, we have a date of when we accessed it, we have the website title, we have the title of the article, How a Simple Math Puzzle Can Guide Discovery. Right? So we have the name of these items, right? And here it says arithmetic puzzle, and maybe before it says math puzzle, so maybe the name by the copy editor was changed. So I might want to change the name that I have so that it matches correctly. All right, so I might come over to the ZBib and say, it wasn't how a simple math puzzle, it was how a simple arithmetic puzzle can guide discovery. Okay, there is an author on here. So I need to come down here and say, okay, well, who's the author? Okay, well, I've got the author's information. So for Deep's information, I want to make sure it gets cited correctly. So I might type the information in and notice that the last name goes first. All right, so there's the last name and then the first name with Pradeep, right? Oops, Pradeep. And if I need to add any additional authors, I can add additional authors. And if I want to keep it all as a single name or as separate names, I can do that as well. All right, so notice I can do a variety of things. So I've got the information that I need. I could say, okay, there I'm done. And then I'm going to need to export this, right? So I might come over here and I'm going to export and I'm going to download it as this BibTeX file. So I click on my BibTeX file, citations.bib. That is good enough. If you need to rename it something more specific, you can. But the beautiful about this BIB file is like a database of citations that you may use throughout your writing career. So once you have it in the database, you don't need to recreate it. It's already there for you. So if I have another paper that I write and I'm like, hey, I really did like this article by Pradeep, I can go in there and cite it again without having to recreate the citation. I'm going to go ahead and save this and come back to Overleaf, and I'm going to need to import this file. So I'm going to come back to my main tech document, and I'm going to upload. And I can just come over here and drag and drop. Right? If I had wanted to, I could certainly have selected this file from my computer. And when I do that, it's going to say, do I want to overwrite the file? And if I don't want to overwrite it, then I would need to rename the file. But I'm going to go ahead and overwrite the same file. So now when I come to my citations, I can verify everything that's in here. And I see, yes, everything that I need to have is listed nicely. All right, that we have a miscellaneous item, right? And it's not a book, it's simply an article, right? Now I might say, hey, this is actually an article. And I might come over here and say, this was actually an article and change it directly here. But I could also have changed it within ZBib on the edit when it said, hey, this was a web page, right? Yes, we found it on the web, but it might have been actually a particular article, a journal article, right? Quantum magazine, a magazine article, and say, hey, it was actually a magazine article. And for the magazine article, then I might have additional information that is needed, but maybe not additional information, right? And if there's something that needs to be included, right, we can see, well, really, this is an online magazine now. So I might simply need it, excuse me, right? That might be all I need. I've got the author, the title, when the article was created, the URL, when I accessed it, and then a little abstract to the article, but it was actually a magazine article. So I might say done, okay? So I have edited this, right, that now it is, right, like we said, a magazine article. So I might need to export this again. I might say, hey, let me download this again, and I'm going to just save over my previous one because I corrected that. Save it. And now when I look at my information, right, if I want to look at what I have, I can say, let me open this particular file, right? So we're open, okay? And when I open it, it should be able to open in Notepad, and I could come over and just copy the information that I need. So control copy, that it's actually going to be an article, whatever I adjusted, right? And I can go ahead and close that. And so now notice that it had with the article, but maybe I didn't notice if I did anything else. And there, now I have my citation, okay? Then the first part of this, where you see Moodle How 2021, right? I might want to adjust this to simply be something that I can refer to more easily if I'm going to cite. So I can say Moodle Quantum Magazine. Right now, if I had multiple articles from Quantum Magazine by Pradeep Moodle, then I might want to be more specific. But what this will allow me to do is come to my main text, and when I want to create my citation, I can just use this cite approach, right, where I'm going to come /cite, and then I'm going to cite, right, the Moodle Quantum Magazine, okay? Now, before the citation will work, I'm going to have to reference where my bibliography is, right? And so I can come over here and say, I'm going to do that with bibliography style. And to start, we can use AMS plain, American Mathematical Society plain citations, which is just going to create a bracketed number, right? And then where is that bib file located? That bib file is located under the name citations, right? And it'll pull it up for you immediately, right? If I say bibliography, yes, right? Then what bibliography am I using? I'm using Citations. I don't need to put .bib. Go to recompile, and now I'm going to have a citation, right, that I first encountered Kepler's constant in Quantum Magazine, how a simple arithmetic puzzle can guide discovery, right? And it already does the citation, how you need it, right, with the italicized piece, where is it, how do we get it? And that's my first reference because this is done in alphabetical order, okay? Now, I may have, right, I may have a problem that I found, right, a selection of problems in combinatorics from the Cambridge University Press, done by Paul Erdős, right? And I can come over, I can say, okay, well, this is what I want to have, right? Recent trends in combinatorics. And I might come over and say, let me export my citation. And it might create the citation for what I need. And I might say, well, let me export it as an easy bib citation, right? And not secure, that's fine. I might be able to get a citation from EasyBib, which is another bibliography citation creator, right? That comes through. But I could also download as a BibTeX, right? And it's going to say here, I want to download this, but notice that this is downloading as a TXT file, which is fine. That's just a text file. So I can download that file, all right? Open the file. Once it's done, all right, still downloading. There we go. All right, now it's done. All right, open that file and I have the information that I need. But notice that over here, it's not really set up where it's nicely formatted, right? It's just all the information that we need. So we may not like it like that, which is where I don't need to start that survey, which is why, let's close that out. I could come over, control copy, right, and use this zbib, right, where I have my previous item from Pradeep, paste it, do my citation, and now just double check the editing, right? And so I have the title, I have who the editors happen to be, I've got the author, I've got the title of the book, right? And this happens to be from a section of the book, happens to be from pages 1 to 6, ISBN number, everything is there. It is so good for us, along with this DOI information. So everything that we need is there. So we say, sweet, we've got what we need, right? Download that BibTeX file. I'm fine putting it over my previous citation because I've simply added to the citation that I have. Set that up, let it download, and then come and see, well, what do I have? Well, I have the Moodleic, but now I also have this other file, right? Which control copy, come over. I want to add this citation right after the curly brace, give some space. It's automatically going to alphabetize my information. So Erdős comes before Moodleic, right? But it is going to give me my information in alphabetical order once I reference it. And here, Giori selection is how it's going to be referenced, right? And I might say, hey, it's going to be Erdős from the Giori selection, right? So I might say Erdős underscore Giori selection, and I can't have any spaces, so I'm going to have to use underscores, right? So then I can come to main.tech, all right, and come over here and I said a really interesting result, right, is presented by Paul Erdős, right? And I might do my citation and I'm going to cite Erdős. Okay. Then let me go ahead and recompile. And you'll see that I have really interesting information by Paul Erdős, right? And this is listed as 1 with Paul Erdős because it's the first one alphabetically, right? Listed as 2 for Pradeep because it's the second one alphabetically, right? But a lot of times in articles, we may want to rather than refer by a number, we may want to refer based on the alphabet to be able to say, hey, who was the author of this? So I can change AMS plain to AMS alpha right down here on the bibliography style, recompile that, and now we have MUT21, and that's because Pradeep Mudalik published in 21, and ERD01 because that is from Paul Erdős, and notice how our references then are set up. This AMS alpha for our purposes is going to be the preferred approach. Right? And as I get new bibliography references, I just need to add those references in. Right? Where can I go to get help with those bibliography references? We'll have those provided for you, right? But we have a nice one on creating a bib database that is set up by a Dr. Hildebrand from the University of Illinois. And we'll provide that information for you, right? That I could come over here and say, hey, also look at, right, and enter in a URL for the Hildebrand, right? And I can also say, here's another place that talks about citations and bibliography styles and what your citations should look like, right? And I have a lot of information from this website. It's very, very useful, right? And so we could say, or check out, and we have this URL, right? And I can recompile my information and it'll set up what I have, right? We'll discuss how I can adjust other items later, but for now, that is creating citations and a reminder of importing images. Okay, so very important that we do create citations.